The new Apple TV is finally here, and while it's not quite the future of TV that Apple wants you to think, it's definitely worth the wait. It's bigger than before. It actually looks like two of the older Apple TVs stacked on top of each other. It has USB-C, Ethernet, and HDMI ports on the back, but unfortunately there's no longer an optical audio port. The biggest hardware change you'll notice is the new remote, which is slightly bigger and moves away from the minimalist remote design Apple has held onto for a long time. It's also finally wireless, so you don't have to point it at the TV, and it features motion controls like Nintendo's Wii. The remote looks like a combination of Apple's iPhone and MacBook design. It has a trackpad on the top, a glass bottom, and metal on the back. It has a menu button, which basically serves as the back button, a home button, a Siri search button, and volume controls. If your TV or receiver supports it, it can also turn everything on and control your volume over HDMI. If not, you can train the remote to control the volume over infrared, but that means you'll need to point the remote right at your receiver. I do question the wisdom of putting glass on a remote, which is one of those gadgets that just tends to fall on the floor a lot, but overall at least it feels pretty good in your hand. Swiping on the trackpad feels far more fluid than the old Apple TV directional pad, and it also feels better than most remotes that we've seen on set-top boxes. Underlying the new Apple TV is tvOS, Apple's new iOS offshoot. It brings a fresher interface, Siri voice search, and it finally adds an app store to the Apple TV. tvOS shows off just how well Apple can integrate its devices now. When you're setting it up, for example, you just need to hold an iOS device near the Apple TV to grab your Wi-Fi settings and iTunes account. It's the simplest set-top box setup I've ever seen. If you don't have an iOS though, be prepared for a slightly longer setup process, mainly because the new on-screen keyboard is a bear to use. The letters now take up one line of the screen, and you swipe between them with the trackpad. The trouble is it's hard to select individual letters at one time, at least until you get a hang of the trackpad's speed. Unfortunately, you can't connect a Bluetooth keyboard to the new Apple TV like you could before, and Apple's own remote iPhone app doesn't even support the new Apple TV yet either. Once you finally boot it up, you'll be presented with a familiar-looking home screen. You'll have to head to the App Store if you want to get any non-Apple services though, like Netflix, Hulu, and HBO Now. As far as streaming video goes, it's pretty much the same as the old Apple TV, except now apps have a bit more flair and the videos also seem to start up a bit faster. One nice upgrade for streaming video, the new trackpad also makes fast forwarding and rewinding much simpler than before. There's even a small preview window that helps you pinpoint specific scenes. There's also much less buffering when it comes to skipping around videos, probably because the new Apple TV can cache a lot more than before. One big change with the new Apple TV is Siri-powered voice search, which lets you search for movies or show titles, directors, actors, or even ask some general questions just by hitting the Siri button on the remote. It's surprising, but Apple does a pretty great job of alerting you when something is available on Netflix, Hulu, and other video services, rather than renting or buying it from iTunes. You can also ask Siri for things like the weather, but at this point she isn't much of a living room virtual assistant yet. I was also surprised that the voice search was even smart enough to start up specific episodes of shows. When I asked it to play the first episode of Homeland, it immediately launched the Showtime app and automatically started playing the pilot episode. Voice search definitely beats hunting around endless lists of movies and TV shows on your couch. It basically helps to control the tidal wave of streaming content out there. It's more accurate than the Amazon Fire TV's voice search, and it's about on par with the new Roku 3 and 4. This time around, there's also more than just media options for the Apple TV. There are now games, educational content, and all sorts of other intriguing apps. Many of the games are basically just ports from the iPhone and iPad. But some are built specifically for the Apple TV, like the new Beat Sports from Harmonix, which is sort of like Wii Sports meets rhythm games. It has the best use of motion control yet on the Apple TV, though right now that mainly involves lots of swinging. All of the games on Apple TV are required to work with the new remote control, which is fine for simpler titles like Rayman Adventures and Crossy Road, which also happen to look pretty good on your TV. For more complex titles though, you can also pair a made-for-iPhone wireless gaming controller with the Apple TV over Bluetooth. I tested out Steelseries Nimbus controller with games like Transistor and Geometry Wars 3, and it felt just like playing on a typical game console. It's definitely early days for gaming on the Apple TV, but it's promising, especially for families who might not want to invest in game consoles just yet. There's also all sorts of other intriguing apps out there for the Apple TV. There's one for Periscope, which lets you watch live video from all over the world. There's a Plex app, which lets you see your personal media files. And strangely, QVC's app is probably one of the best at showing us what the future of the Apple TV could be like. It shows live video, but you can also purchase and browse items right from within the app. Overall, tvOS is a big step forward for Apple, and together with the new remote, it feels pretty much like what you'd expect a modern TV interface to feel like in 2015. The big downside with the new Apple TV, there's no 4K support yet, which means it's already obsolete if you've got a new 4K TV. The new Apple TV retails for $149 for the 32GB version and $199 for the 64GB version. Most people will be fine with the smaller version though, especially since apps are pretty small and you'll be streaming most of your content anyway. Ultimately, the new Apple TV offers the most elegant TV experience I've seen yet, and it's only going to get better as developers start taking advantage of it. But if you have your heart set on 4K, look elsewhere or wait until next year.